Okay, so I'll call the council meeting number 14 for Tuesday, July 29th to order. We've got regrets from Mayor Paul, Councillors Vic and Runge. They are in Japan or Korea at this point in time. I am acting Mayor Elliott, and I will be chairing today. I'd like to recognize that we're meeting on the traditional lands of the LHTAKO DENE. And maybe I can get an approval of the agenda. We don't have any late items or new additions. Yep. Councillor McKelvey, Councillor Roodenburg, all in favor? Perfect. Can I get adoption of the regular minutes for June 24th? Councillor Goulet, Councillor McKelvey, all in favor? Perfect. We don't have any presentations, but we do have a delegation tonight. This is based on the Quesnel North-South Interconnector Impact Assessment via Zoom. We have Steve Nichol, owner of Lionsgate Consulting, and Randy Sunderman, President Peak Solutions Consulting. Go ahead, gentlemen, if you'd like. Thank you for being here.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to try to share my screen first. And of course, technology is not being kind to me. Randy, can you share, do you have the presentation up, Randy?
No, I don't have I'm on my new computer, Steve, so I don't have that stuff set up yet.
We're used to these kind of issues.
Just hold on a sec. I'm not a Zoom user, so it's asking me for some, yeah. I'm sorry, everybody. I got to leave and come back, so I'll be back in just 1 minute. Zoom wants to reset some things, so if you hang on, I'll just be back in a second.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, can you hear me and see me here?
Yeah, that's perfect now. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, okay. So having lost a minute there, yeah, so good afternoon, everybody. I've just got about a 10-minute presentation here. We're going to have a few minutes for questions and answers if we want to get into that. So let me just give you some background to this project. So most of you are familiar with the background here. Ministry of Transportation Transit has completed preliminary design phase on what they're calling the North-South Interconnector. They commissioned a cost-benefit study, which they usually do for major transportation projects back in 2020. But of course, there's been no committed funding yet. And the project's not in their near-term capital planning. What this report does is it describes the socioeconomic implications of that project if it were implemented. The methodology is based on a multiple accounts analysis framework, which is a provincial framework. It's something the province uses to evaluate projects. There's 5 accounts that we assessed: the economy, the socio-community account, Indigenous account, environment account, and the business case. So I'll go through each of those briefly in this presentation. When we make our effects statements, what we're doing is we're comparing what we call the project case, so that would be the interconnector project if it were implemented, against the base case. Now, the base case is the status quo. It's the future without the interconnector project. So the current highway alignment stays in place, And when you delve into the cost-benefit analysis, there are quite a few provincial costs associated with the base case because some of the infrastructure, especially the bridges, are nearing the end of their useful lifespan and they have to be upgraded. So it's not a situation where the interconnector is a 100% incremental cost. So we compare those two so that we're comparing apples to apples. The spatial study areas here are British Columbia, Cariboo Economic Region, and the city of Quesnel. So I'm going to start with the economic impact. So we looked at 3 sub-accounts here. The most obvious one is construction. This is a multi-million-dollar budget. It will be a sizable construction project, and that has economic impacts. It has economic benefits. We talk about GDP of over 300 million, labor income of 178 million, over 2,500 jobs and tax revenues to all 3 levels of government of 27 million. Now, these are BC impacts, so these impacts are experienced throughout the province, but a considerable portion of these impacts would flow into the Cariboo Economic Region and Quesnel itself. Exactly how much we don't know, because you have to actually get into the tendering process and find out who the contractors are and where they're from, et cetera, to know with detail what's going to happen there. But these are the provincial impacts, and a considerable portion would accrue to Quesnel. Now, the Regional Economic Development account really looks at what happens to the regional economy if you go through with the interconnector. So when we're talking to economic folks and folks of the province, certainly the ministry knows that you have better highway mobility, reliability, and safety. That makes for more efficient freight movement, reduces transit time and costs, and enhances connectivity. And the benefit cost report that was done in 2020 provided a valuation of that at $156 million that would accrue to the region. So what does that mean sort of on street level terms? I mean, what it means is business costs are lower. Whoever's involved in shipping goods or transporting people back and forth on the highway, have better connectivity, lower cost, better safety, et cetera. That improves the investment climate, improves the business climate, and that creates economic development. And we only have to look at our large-scale energy projects that are going to be coming online over the next 10, 20 years. And the highway infrastructure is a big part of getting that equipment, getting those generators, et cetera, and blades in and out of the area. So that's the regional economic development account. Small business is also going to stand to benefit, and specifically small business in Quesnel, because the rerouting is going to stimulate development on front, especially on front and Carson, but perhaps broader out. So a better foundation for city planning initiatives such as the waterfront plan. As we get more development downtown, we stem spending leakages. So perhaps for fewer people going to Prince George or Kamloops or wherever they go for big ticket purchases. A more vibrant downtown, of course, and certainly an enhanced visitor potential and experience downtown. So let's talk about the socio-community impacts. Well, the first one is population. And this is linked to the economic impacts. Quesnel would be in a better position to achieve its population growth target, which right now is at about 0.6%. So the better the economy, the more the investment, the more the labor supply, the more the labor demand, the better chances we have of increasing our population and keeping us sort of on a growth vector. I mean, the waterfront is an obvious socio-community impact that would be brought much closer into ordinary daily life for Quesnel residents and visitors. I mean, the waterfront there, it's accessible. Yes, it is. But we're going to see better connections between front, the downtown, and the river. Active transportation will improve, especially on front. The project itself has got active transportation design elements built into it. So from front to the interconnector, we would expect to see more active transportation opportunities and more active transportation use right across the downtown area. Property values, if we can unlock that development potential, especially on Front and Carson, to approximate what we have on Reid, we're potentially looking at $500,000 in taxes yearly, and that's would be extremely valuable to the city anytime we can take business tax revenue and relieve the tax burden across the rest of the tax base. That's good. And then finally, just road safety. Obviously, with the connector, the interconnector implemented, we immediately improved safety and walkability and active transportation downtown, fewer crashes and fewer casualties. So again, an overall quality of life improvement if we move that, if we go ahead with the interconnector project. The Indigenous impacts, we've got a specific line item in the budget from the ministry that they allocate for First Nations consultation and accommodation. I don't know what that means because it's not entirely explained in the planning documents to date, but it certainly would be something that would go toward provincial objectives for reconciliation, including economic reconciliation. And so there's going to be benefits there specifically for the First Nations who are most closely involved with Quesnel, such as the LHTAKO DENE. Now, the other area where we would see some benefits is, potential benefits anyways, collaboration and partnerships with the city. So again, once downtown Revite is unlocked and things happen on Front, there's going to be an opportunity to work with First Nations to perhaps they can be a development partner in certain areas. We could be doing more with public art or monumentation, more connections to LHTAKO DENE Park. So we would expect LHTAKO DENE especially to be active in this area, working with the city on projects that might emerge once the interconnector goes ahead. Just a few environmental benefits, greenhouse gas emissions, those were quantified in earlier ministry studies. So we have an actual number of 4,250 tons of carbon a year. That's a benefit. Air quality improves, fewer particulates, a smaller airshed impact, less stop and go, and as I say, fewer particulates and better air quality downtown. The same thing for noise. We're moving noise off a Front, especially because there's a lot of there's a lot of community type services on Front. So we're talking the hospital, we're talking senior care facilities, housing, emergency shelters, etc. So again, a better quality of life there. Visuals, we would see better visual sort of streetscape once we see that development occurring on Front and Carson. And then lastly, just dangerous goods. This is a ticking time bomb. Maybe it doesn't occur for 100 years, but if it did occur and it occurred in downtown, it would be, really a really serious event, especially where Front goes now. And in some cases, we don't know what the dangerous goods, are. So again, by moving it over to the interconnector, less chance for collisions and casualties, and less chance for a dangerous goods event. Finally, I'm just going to talk about the business case. So the business case is really the benefit cost, or I use these things interchangeably: cost, benefit, benefit, cost. This is something that the province did, the ministry did 4 or 5 years ago. We updated some of the numbers based upon their indexing manuals. So really, we have incremental benefits, we have incremental costs. The incremental costs are mainly associated with the actual construction project, so the construction project, the construction budget, and the incremental benefits are mainly accruing to local area businesses as you have lower business costs for operating on the highway. So fewer stops, less travel times, fewer accidents, etc. So the benefit cost ratio, what they call the benefit cost ratio, is 1.16. Anything over 1 means it's a positive, it would be a positive project. So construction is an efficient allocation of scarce resources. So as you know, the province has so much money, but a million things to spend it on. And so you'll often see, especially the Ministry of Highways will do benefit cost analysis, not just to evaluate a project, but different project scenarios. So if I want to go from point A to point B, I could have 4 different ways to get there. So the ministry really puts a lot of emphasis on this benefit cost analysis, and it's positive for this project. So the ministry knows that. We just have to make sure that the decision makers are aware that this would be an important piece of the overall Cariboo transportation system. And lastly, BC, not just Quesnel, not just a Cariboo region, BC is better off with the project than without. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about what I've presented here.
Okay, thank you very much, Steve. Lots of good information there. Do we have any questions or comments from council? Nope, seeing none. I just want to thank you for your extensive work. We do have your full report embedded in our agenda. So for anybody that's interested in that, it is extensive. Okay, we've just touched the high level right now on this. But yeah, there's a lot going on there. So I want to thank you very much. We're proving once again how important this project is, not just for Quesnel, obviously, but for the North and all of British Columbia, especially as you mentioned with resource extraction and things that are going to be taking place and are taking place now. So thank you very much, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, bye now.
Bye now. Okay, moving on. We don't have any items arising from a previous special closed. We don't have any unfinished business, and we'll go into committee reports. So we're going to do the Policy and Bylaw Committee Chair report with Councillor Roodenburg reporting, please.
Thank you. You'll see the report is from our meeting of July 10th. One of the pieces that have come out of there is that the Policy and Bylaw Committee would like staff to develop a lease policy for the City of Quesnel, referencing policies from other municipalities. One of the things that was discussed is about the transparency of when these bids go out. And so we want to make sure that we use every possible venue out there, whether it includes social media, et cetera, to promote these bid opportunities. So when we talk about bid opportunities, it's for things like empty spaces that might be in a city-owned building that we might see would be appropriate for community use, et cetera. But we want to make sure that the entire community understands that these opportunities are there. We also did a review of the role of the Chief Administration Officer policy, and mostly that was just to look at grammar and update some of the language that is needed just to make it a more modern document. And the last piece that we did talk about is around written correspondence to council and what that looks like and what does come to actual council versus what stays on the mayor's desk versus what doesn't even get to the mayor, and how that looks. And so staff will discuss the policy internally, see if there are any changes that are needed, and then bring the policy back for a future PAPCOM meeting. Director Goulet, I know that you were there at that meeting. Did I miss anything in those? All right. There is a recommendation below there in regards to the role of the Chief Administration Officer policy review. Did you want me to move that?
Yes, please.
That the Policy and Bylaw Committee recommend to Quesnel City Council that revised role of the Chief Administration Officer CSR 1 policy be approved.
Thank you. And seconded by Councillor Goulet. Any questions, comments on that? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you very much for that, Councillor Roodenburg.
Thank you.
We will slide into Cariboo Regional District Board highlights. Typically, the mayor would comment on these as he went down to the meetings, but there isn't too much to report on, quite honestly. The May 3rd meeting, there was nothing concerning Quesnel and area, not even our surrounding areas. And then the June 18th, 19th meeting, I should read this out. The North Cariboo Recreation is focusing on existing services, so the CRD and the City of Quesnel will cease its pursuit of funding for a gymnastics facility and indoor court addition at the Arts and Recreation Center following removal from the North Cariboo Recreation and Parks Business Plan. This decision follows a survey committee members conducted earlier in the year, which identified a desire to see a focus on existing facilities and services rather than constructing new ones. So that pretty much takes up that, and then we'll go to July 11th. And I'll do a little thing here. We've got some sad news for our area. The board of directors took a moment of silence prior to Friday's board meeting to honor their friend and colleague, Ted Armstrong, who passed away recently. Ted served as a member of the board for over 40 years. He joined as alternate director in 1977. He was then elected director for Electoral Area A, which is South Quesnel, in the general elections of 1978. Served successive terms up until 2018. He was chairman of the board from 1993 to 2000, and again from 2003 to 2005. He held the position of vice chair from 2009 to 16. Following his service as a member of the board, Ted continued to serve area residents as a member of the Area A's APC. His dedication to his constituents and the Cariboo region as a whole was invaluable. He's left a lasting impression on the region and those who had the opportunity to work alongside him. On behalf of the CRD, we would like to extend our condolences to Ted's family and friends, and on behalf of the city, we would like to do the exact same thing. So at this time, I'd just like to ask for a moment of silence, as many of us worked with Ted, and he was a wonderful man. Thank you very much. Rest in peace, Ted. Now we're going to slide into city staff reports. Administration report 7025, Quesnel North-South Interconnector Package. Manager Reid to report, please.
Thank you. The purpose of this report is for Council to receive the Quesnel North-South Interconnector Impact Assessment and for Council to provide staff with any refinements to the covering package document in preparation for UBCM. The Quesnel North-South Interconnector Impact Assessment uses a multiple account analysis framework to review the impacts of the interconnector project on the province, the region, and Quesnel. A baseline, current status, outlook, future without the interconnector, and impact, future with the interconnector, are considered for each of the following accounts: economy, socio-community, Indigenous, environment, and business case. The report was prepared to support Council in lobbying the province to move forward with the interconnector, given the value of the project to the province as a whole. We've prepared a covering document that describes the current status of the highway through Quesnel, a description of the interconnector project, and highlights the impacts described in the report. And the recommendation is that Council provide any direction to staff to refine the interconnector document to be most effective in lobbying the provincial government to move the interconnector project forward.
Excellent, thank you. So do we have any questions on that? No? Yeah, Councillor Roodenburg. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any, is it worth our while to add somewhere in here that this fits right along with some of the discussions that the feds have had around mega projects? That this fits into that whole role of trying to get, you know, our economy rolling without having to worry about what's going on down south of us? Because we have sort of chatted a little bit about what mega projects look like around our community. Is it worthwhile adding that in there, or is that just one of those other little side notes that we have to add when we are talking to them? Is it worth putting in here or just using it as a side note?
I think it could be as a side note. I'm not opposed to putting it in here. I think if it was to go, like we had talked at one point about potentially to FCM and going to talk to the federal government, then I think we would definitely want to highlight that there.
Okay.
I don't know. I'll look to the city manager.
I guess the other piece too is I just don't know what kind of partnership the provinces are going to have with the feds when they talk about mega projects. That's the other thing.
Yeah, at this point in time, that remains unclear. The federal government has expressed an interest in obviously trade corridors and getting the economy going, as has the provincial government, but we don't know the nature of those partnerships at this point in time, and that's not surprising given the relative newness of the federal government. I would say at this point in time, definitely a note to highlight verbally. Our hope as staff is to begin engaging with federal government for the end of August and just explore sort of where that sits in their current ministry structure and go from there and to Manager Reid's point, see if there is a pathway for council to be advocating in Ottawa.
As long as we don't lose it, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for that. Any other questions? Just on the letters of support, I was a little surprised that we don't see anything from Prince Rupert or the Port of Prince Rupert. I thought that they had signed on. Am I mistaken?
They may have. We had received a longer list of letters back in 2018 when we first went out for letters, but we've had a round of elections since then. So we, in 2023, went back out for letters, and we didn't receive as many the second time around, but we could do additional follow-up to see if we can get further letters there.
I'm not sure that would hurt. I mean, especially for me, the port, I think that's a big one, and I do believe that they're on side with this, so I don't know. I think maybe if we can, without taking too much staff time, if we could reconnect a bit more and add more, I think that would be beneficial. Anything else? Okay, thank you very much for that. Now we'll go to Administration Report 6925, Development Permit DP 2025-83, 230 Anderson Drive, Women's Transition Center. Director Turner to report.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. Again, the purpose of this report is to review the form and character development permit, as well as a floodplain development permit for the new 26-unit, 3-story apartment development, as well as considering associated variances. The residential development is specially designed as a second stage women's transition housing. BC Housing defines second stage housing as a private, secure, low-cost multi-unit residence where occupants can live safely and independently. The proposed development is designed with this housing type in mind, including the main access being from the lane rather than Anderson Drive, fencing and gate around the entire property, privacy screening through landscaping, and private outside area for play for the children. Development permit is required to review the form and character, as I've stated, as well as the floodplain aspects. I'll just quickly touch on a few brief points with respect to that. The use and density of this development meet the zoning bylaw. The 3 variants being requested would be to reduce the principal building front property line setback to 3 meters, to increase the maximum required front yard fence height to 6 feet or 1.82 meters, vary the number of required parking spaces to 16. There's also one additional associated variance with respect to the development servicing bylaw, which is to vary the requirement for to have 12 millimeters of rainfall be retained on property, and we're to a retention of 1 or 0 millimeters. Overall, staff are aware of all of these variances and do not have concerns. The reasoning for the front yard setback is there's a number of conditions on the site, as described in the report, that lead to the placement of the building. The parking at the rear of the building also is something that's desired, but then again, of course, requires the building to be located closer to the front property line. There is a BC Hydro three-phase power. That does make some considerations for this placement. Those have been reviewed and are deemed acceptable at this point. And so we're going for recommending approval of those setbacks variances. The fencing height increase is also, again, as just clearly identified there, is part and parcel to the type of facility, just making sure that the security and privacy is there for the facility. The parking, again, due to the type of facility, there is expected low number of vehicles that will be required at the site, and that's being discussed, or that has been discussed, and staff are in approval. The rainfall, again, there is a number of conditions with respect to this site that make it acceptable, including having the drainage right there, and Director of Capital Works as well is reviewing and have agreed that this is an acceptable practice for this specifically, given the floodplain of the area. There's some additional information with regard to access and parking. Again, there will be parking at the rear of the building, and the main access will be at the rear of the building. This is requiring development of the laneway, which would be between Etchin Hall and Two Rivers Church. We are negotiating that with the developer in the servicing agreement, and that will be paid for by the developer. But it will be a new infrastructure in that area. The signage. There is a sign that is being recommended or is being proposed as part of the development. It is in the back too. Currently there might be some movements of it, so we're okay with the signage. There might be some slight movements due to some servicing last minute discussions with respect to fire hydrants, etc. But again, we have no concerns with regard to the signage. Overall, the development does meet a number of the development permit guidelines, as discussed in the report. So if there's no questions, I can move on to the recommendation.
Do we have any questions? Oh, good to go. Continue, please.
Thank you. It is recommended that Council approve DP 2025-783 for the construction of a 3-story, 26-unit apartment on Lot A, District Lot 704, Cariboo District Plan EPP 145792, and that Council vary Section 18.3.6A of the City of Quesnel zoning bylaw, number 1880, to reduce the principal building front lot property line setback to 2.13 meters. And that Council vary Section 5.6.2 of the City of Quesnel zoning bylaw 1880 to reduce the number of required off-street parking spaces to 16, and that Council vary development servicing bylaw number 1916 Schedule B, Section 4 MMCD 4.9.1. level of service to 0 millimeters of rainfall to be stored on site, subject to the following being completed prior to building permit issuance, entering into a servicing agreement with the city for the associated off-site works, including construction of the access laneway, and obtaining landscaping bonding in the amount of 125% for all hard and soft landscaping.
Councillor Goulet, so moved. Councillor McKelvey, seconded.
Just a comment.
Yep, comment from Councillor Roodenburg, please.
Thank you. I am so impressed that this is coming forward. The fact that this organization has worked years in trying to get a second stage women's housing unit in Quesnel, a lot of hard work, and a lot of people have passed through their organization with the hopes that this would come to fruition. So well done to hang in there, and I'm really looking forward to its groundbreaking and then its grand opening. So kudos on you guys. Thanks.
Yeah, agreed 100%. This is so important for the community, moving forward with more development, but especially this one, and it's extremely important. So I'll take the vote on the recommendation then. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Yeah, we can have questions at the end if you would like, sir. I'm sorry?
She won't run.
Sorry, perfect. Sounds good. We will continue on then to Administration Report 7125, the Local Government Climate Action Plan Annual Report. Interim DENE Mizey. And welcome, DENE. She's new with us, and she's an intern, and we're very excited to have her here. So thank you, and continue on. Carry on, please.
Thank you. The purpose of this report is to provide council and the public with a copy of the city's submission for the 2024 Local Government Climate Action Program Survey. This survey shares information on the city's greenhouse gas emissions for traditional services and climate change mitigation and adaptation efforts. The city's total greenhouse gas emissions for traditional services as defined by the Local Government Climate Action Program were 1,110.76 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent in 2024. This is a 3.6% decrease from the previous year. The Local Government Climate Action Program provides funding to the city for climate-related activities. $78,750.73 is committed to projects already, which leaves $313,758 to be used over the next 3 years. Municipalities with over 10,000 people are encouraged to complete this survey with an attached attestation form. However, beginning in 2026, it is mandatory for those with populations over 5,000 to submit the survey to continue to receive funding. This report was brought forward for informational purposes only. No council resolution is required. Thank you.
Excellent job. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments on this? Oh, thanks again. Then we'll move on to Administration Report 6525, Northern Development Initiative Trust Marketing Initiatives Grant Application. Ski North BC Regional Marketing Consortium. Coordinator Coppin to report, please.
And thank you. The purpose of this report is to receive council's approval to apply for the NDIT Marketing Initiatives Grant for up to $20,000 on behalf of Ski North BC. Ski North BC is a regional marketing consortium that promotes winter tourism in the North Cariboo and other communities throughout the North BC. Quesnel has been a partner of the consortium for the past 8 years, along with several other businesses within Quesnel, including Troll Ski Resort. To maximize the marketing impacts, Ski North BC has requested the city to submit an application to NDIT's Marketing Initiatives Program for $20,000 in match funding on behalf of the consortium. The project will include video and photo content acquisition, as well as digital marketing outputs to promote winter tourism throughout the region. The recommendation is that Quesnel City Council supports a grant application to Northern Development Initiative Trust's Marketing Initiative for $20,000 to match funding for the Ski North BC Regional Marketing Consortium.
Okay, so we'll get it on the floor. Any movers? Councillor McKelvey, second. Councillor Roodenburg, any questions or comments on this? No, seems like a no-brainer. Thank you very much. So we'll take the vote. All in favor? Unanimous. On to Administration Report 6625, Development Variance Permit DVP 2025/80, 2461 Campbell Crescent, minimum lot size variance. Director Turner to report, please.
Thank you, Council. This is a pretty easy consideration. This is just an irregular lot shape. The variance is due to a subdivision application, trying to fix that irregular lot shape by correcting the middle lot line of the lots. There's no proposed development on the site. It's really just to improve the marketability and the sellability of these lots, but there's no real change in lot size of either lots, but they still remain underneath the minimum lot size required, so require the variance. So I'm just going to go right to the recommendation, which is that council approve DVP 2025-80 to vary zoning bylaw number 1880/2019, section 30.3.3C, minimum lot size with no sanitary system, to 0.59 hectares on the two lots described as Lot 1, District Lot 5016, Cariboo District, Plan PGP 47290, and Lot 1, District Lots 5011 and 5015, Cariboo District, Plan 26089, except Plan 27506, and PGP 37116.
A lot of numbers for a simple one. Can I get a mover? Councillor Goulet, Councillor McKelvey. Yeah, any questions or comments? No, take the vote. All in favor? Unanimous? Thank you, Director Turner. Administration Report 6725, Development Permit DP 2025-85, 2241 Campbell Crescent, Commercial Form and Character, Commercial Area. Director Turner to report.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. The purpose again is to propose the construction of a new 370-meter square storage accessory building proposed to be sited behind the principal building of this lot. The structure is prefabricated, it will be engineered. This really does meet the principles of the M1 light industrial zone by having this accessory storage structure. You'll contain all items inside and keep the form and character of that site within the requirements of that zoning bylaw, as well as the DP, the nature of the DP in that area. The recommendation is that this is approved. There's no, it meets all of the covenants and conditions of this site. There was notice, and of course, there's been no response to that notice of this development, or no contesting opinions. The recommendation is that Council approve DP 2025-85 construction of a coverall storage shelter on parcel C, PH 844, District Lot 5015, Cariboo District Plan 27506.
Thank you, Director Turner. Councillor Roodenburg, you're moving. Seconder, Councillor McKelvey. Thank you. Any questions, comments? Take the vote then. All those in favor? Unanimous. Administration Report 7325, Strategic Priorities Fund Application. City Manager Mackay to report, please.
Thank you for that. I'm actually going to delegate this to Coordinator Coppin, who actually did the work. It's not fair for me to take all of the glory here. So, Mike, over to you.
Thank you. The purpose of this report is to gain Council's approval for an application to, or for applications to the Strategic Priorities Fund for infrastructure improvements to encourage development opportunities in the West Riverside neighborhood under the Capital Infrastructure Stream and development finance plans under the Capacity Building Stream. Funding is available from the Strategic Priorities Fund, SPF, under the Canada Community Building Fund that will allow the city to complete capital infrastructure and capacity building projects to promote new developments throughout the city. The first project is the West Riverside Housing Development and Densification Project, which involves essential upgrades to enable future housing development in the West Riverside neighborhood. Previous housing needs assessments from 2010, 2013, 2014 have consistently identified an increasing need for housing in Quesnel. The 2025 Infrastructure Master Plan showed that existing infrastructure limitations in West Riverside restrict densification potential, including Cariboo Field redevelopment. Without these upgrades, the city's ability to meet its long-term housing goals as outlined in the official community plan and the housing needs assessment's 20 years projection, they will be constrained. Key infrastructure improvements include upgrading the Rolfe Street water main from 100 millimeters to 200 millimeters diameter, connecting water mains on Rodis Drive, installing a new Doherty Drive water main to ensure adequate fire flows, sanitary sewer upgrades along Malcolm Drive, and stormwater system improvements, including replacing the Rodis Drive storm line. This project is essential in addressing Quesnel's housing needs while supporting the broader regional priorities, such as the development of a Northern Health long-term facility at Cariboo Field. This investment will play a crucial role in advancing housing development, supporting economic growth, and ensuring sustainable community expansion. The second project on the capacity building stream is the development finance plan, which will review and evaluate financial tools to support the acquisition and construction of capital assets needed to meet Quesnel's housing demands through 2046. The growing housing needs identified over the past decade, with the growing housing needs identified, it is important that the city has financial strategies and tools in place to facilitate development and of housing necessary to fill affordable housing needs. The project will evaluate both existing tools such as development cost charges, latecomer agreements, parkland acquisition fees, and development servicing agreements, as well as other available tools not currently in place, including amenity cost charges. The evaluation of these tools will assess how they can be optimized or expanded to support further development. Any questions before the recommendations? So the first recommendation is for the capital infrastructure stream application, and the recommendation is that Quesnel City Council approve submitting grant application for the West Riverside Housing Development and Densification Project to the capital infrastructure stream of the Strategic Priorities Fund.
Perfect. So on the first recommendation, Councillor Roodenburg and Councillor Goulet seconds. Are there any questions or comments? No, it's all good. We'll take the vote then. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
And the second recommendation is that Quesnel City Council approves submitting a grant application for the Development Finance Plan project to the capacity building stream of the Strategic Priorities Fund.
Perfect. Councillor Goulet moved. Councillor McKelvey second. Questions, comments? Take the vote, please. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you very much for the work on this. Administration Report 6825, Development Variance Permit DVP 2025-79, Rita Road, Fairfield Marriott Hotel, Development Servicing Bylaw, Rainfall Retention. Director Turner to report, please.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. You have seen this this development prior. The approval of DP 2024-71 for the construction of a 4-story hotel in April was brought to council with approval. At that time, though, that was not identified that the on-site retention would not be met with the project, and so we did not bring this variance at this time. Since we've discovered that's the case, the applicant is now requesting that this variance be brought to allow for 0 millimeters of on-site rainfall storage due to soil types, low infiltration, poor drainage, and expansion behavior of that site. The detention alternative is being utilized on site and has been acceptable, is acceptable with the city staff. The recommendation is that council vary Development Servicing Bylaw number 1916 of 2022, Schedule B, Section 4, MMCD 4.9.1, level of service to 0 millimeters of rainfall to be stored on site for the development of a 4-story hotel on Lot B, District Lot 6679, Cariboo District Plan, PGP 46827.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Councillor Roodenburg, moving. Second. Second. Councillor McKelvey, any questions or comments? All those in favor? I think it's unanimous. Everybody in favor? Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Administration Report 7225, electronic vote to retract February 4th, 2025 Council Resolution 250452, UBCM resolution regarding BC Hydro. Deputy Corporate Administrator Hartley to report, please.
This matter was expedited by electronic vote due to the timeframe of the next council meeting and that of the UBCM resolution binders. So the recommendation or the vote was responded in favor by all who voted. And that was sent out by Laura Long on June 25th. The recommendation is that council ratify the electronic vote held June 25th to retract the February 4th, 2025 Council Resolution 250452 UBCM resolution regarding BC Hydro. The council retracts Resolution 250452 directing staff to draft a resolution for the Union of BC Municipalities to advocate for the Ministry of Energy, Mines and Low Carbon Innovation through their provincial crown corporation, BC Hydro, to consider providing energy-efficient programs available to municipalities with populations under 75,000, and that council directs staff to inform UBCM of the retraction withdrawal of the resolution of the City of Quesnel.
Thank you very much. We've all voted on this already, but we'll do it once again. I'm sure there's no more comments on it. Can I get a mover? Councillor Goulet, second. Councillor Roodenburg. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you very much for that. Our council information package, there was nothing brought forward. correspondence. So we'll go back to Deputy Corporate Administrator Hartley, please.
Dave Zimmer of the Quesnel Disc Golf Foundation would like to request a resolution of support for their application to Northern Development Initiative Trust to fund the construction of a new course in the forested area of the fuel management trails.
Okay, can I get any questions, comments first? No. How do we feel about this? Any movers? Councillor Goulet, Councillor Roodenburg, all those in favor? Unanimous, thank you. And the second one, Etch and Healing Society, request for resolution of support.
On July 21st, we received a request from Carlos of the Etch and Healing Society. They'll be applying to Northern Development Initiative Trust for 3 grants, one under the Community Places Grant for the Etch and Hall renovation, one under the Marketing Initiatives Grant for First Nations app, and one under the Cultural Infrastructure Grant for Indigenous Arts trailer display. And they would like a letter of support in those grant applications.
Okay, can I get a mover on that? Yeah. Councillor McKelvey, Councillor Roodenburg, all those in favor? Unanimous, thank you. And our third and last one, the Quesnel District Child Development Center request for a resolution of support.
On July 24th, we received the request from Melanie McDonald, Executive Director. They'll be applying to the Northern Development Initiative Trust Community Places Grant Program for an accessible bathroom upgrade at the CDC, which includes a mechanical lift system, adjustable change table to meet the needs of children and youth with mobility needs and disabilities, and a new wheelchair accessible sink, grab bars, and electronic door openers. Again, asking for a resolution of support for the grant application.
Councillor Goulet, Councillor Roodenburg, any questions, comments? No, all in favor? Unanimous. Thank you very much for that, Rhea. No bylaws. We have no new business. Information and question period. There's no changes to our upcoming meeting schedule. No changes to committee appointments. Any announcements or events? Councillor Goulet.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. And just wanted to make mention of the powwow coming up this Friday, August 1st at 7 p.m. with the grand entry, and Saturday starting at 12 p.m. and Sunday at 12 p.m. And I hope that you can come out at the Arbor at LHTAKO. It is a competition powwow, so a little bit different. Happy to hear and being part of the committee that, the dancers are coming out in droves. I did hear a number of almost 1,500 dancers. That's dancers alone that are coming to be part of the powwow from everywhere from the United States to Alberta to Ottawa. So we have some people coming to the community for the first time. So very, very pleased with that. And if we get all those, that will be the biggest powwow, I think, on the circuit, I believe, but I'm not sure. So we'll see how that goes. So please come out and support the powwow at the Arbor. I think it'll be a fantastic event, and it will be a fantastic event for the community. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that forward, Councillor. Last year was incredible, but this is just going to be something else. Councillor Roodenburg?
Thank you. Sort of carrying on the lines of that, I know that they had a pre-powwow healing sweat yesterday. They had more people than they could put into the sweat lodge, and so lots of community support and new people showing up. So kudos to our community, and I'm looking forward to the powwow on the weekend. Councillor Elliott and myself and Director Aaron, I forgot her last name, oh dear. Anyway, we had the honor of attending the swearing-in ceremony of the new chief and council out at NASCO. Yes, their elections were several months ago, but because of various commitments and events that happened within the community, they were able to host it today. Lovely luncheon and a great opportunity to see them sworn in as their new council. And one of the interesting things they had in their I do swear kind of thing was the fact that they committed to actually working with other levels of government And I thought that was a really interesting piece. I think that there might be something in it for us when we look at how we do our blurb at the beginning of a new term, how we can advocate for, with other various levels of government. I thought that was really something interesting. So congratulations to their chief and council, and I know that we all look forward to working with them. I have another great announcement. Next Thursday, August 7th, 4 to 9, Baker Creek Park in West Quesnel is our annual night market. I believe we're working on about number 13 or 14. We kind of missed a year or two in there. Starts at 4 o'clock, goes to 9. Corduroy, the band, will be our entertainment for the evening. We have a waiting list for vendors as of today. We have over 40 vendors who will be coming. So that's probably one of the highest numbers I've ever seen since I've been part of West Quesnel. So everything from, some not-for-profit groups to rock painting to fine jewelry art, just all kinds of baking. We actually have a fruit truck coming, so it's going to be a busy night. So I encourage everybody to come out for a free evening of entertainment and find some goodies. And last but not least, sorry, give me the mic, this is what happens. So one of the other things, as we all know, Sprout Kitchen and Nourish Food Bank lost their facility in a fire several months ago. And so one of the marketing decisions that the board for West Quesnel Business Association decided to do in order to get people to the west side, we thought, how do we do that and still support our community? So hopefully you'll be getting one of these in the mail over the next week. And what it is a postcard, and it asks you to show your support for Sprout Kitchen and Nourish Food Bank. So all you really need to do is to write your name and phone number on the back if you'd like to win $100 worth of gift cards from West Quesnel. But bring the card over and deposit it in a bin that's located at the mall. And if you happen to be coming to the night market, we'll also have a bin or a box for you to put this in. For every postcard that is returned, the Business Association will donate $1 towards Nourish and Sprout Kitchen. So there is also opportunities to donate online. There's QR codes for you if you so desire to donate that way. So please come visit West Quesnel, support Sprout Kitchen and Nourish, and we'll see you on the 7th. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and thanks for all your hard work with the West Quesnel Business Association for well over a decade now, I would think.
Getting there.
Yeah, getting there. Okay, any other events or no? Okay, now we will slide into gallery questions, if we have any. No? Yeah, come on up. You just come on up here, say your name and your address, and press the button for red. Please, sir.
Hello, I'm Taryn Midzane. I'm a news reporter for Vista Radio upstairs, and my address is 711 Barkerville Highway. My question is for Tanya Turner. For the 230 Anderson Drive, the property with the lane in the back, is there also plans to redo to do an intersection in that area for access, as there's a barrier, so anyone going west can't actually access that property?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you. The accesses will not change there. Their barriers will remain as is at this point. You will only be able to access from the one direction for sure. Yeah, that was a known consideration at the beginning of the project, and it has been discussed with all of the user groups, and it's determined that's not going to be a large issue.
Okay, then I have a follow-up to that. Is there going to be access built into the back way towards Doherty or the Clark roads?
Not from that location. Do you mean you go through the laneway and then access into Doherty? No, there would not from that site. There would not be additional access from Doherty.
Okay, so basically, if you're going west, you can't access that building unless you go back, loop around, go into the lane.
Correct, just the same as the Elks or the Netchin Hall and Two Rivers Church. Correct.
Okay.
Okay, good. Thank you, sir. Any other questions? No? Okay, we'll look for adjournment then. Motion from Councillor Roodenburg, seconded Councillor McKelvey. All those in favor? Approved. Unanimous. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great evening.